everybody. Welcome to the last day of our Advent series at La La Land Crafts. And happy Christmas Eve. Happy holidays to everybody. So today is the last day of our Advent. We started out with 12 videos from Irina Blount. So she's the owner of La La Land Crafts. So all of those 12 videos are on the La La Land Crafts YouTube channel. If you want to check those out, there are some incredible projects in there. And then following that, our design team took over, and some of us did videos and some of us did instructional blog posts for the Advent on how to create a bunch of wonderful holiday themed projects. So we do have a giveaway with our Advent series. So we're giving away 3 $50 gift certificates to our online store. And all you have to do to be entered to win is to comment on those 12 videos from the beginning of the series, and then on the blog posts as well on our blog. And I will link the blog below. And you'll have a chance to win one of 3 $50 gift certificates to the La La Land Craft store. And if you see anything that you like today while I'm making the project for La La Land Crafts products, we do have a coupon code right now, which is Advent 2022, and you can get 20% off on these wonderful products that I'm using today, and of course, much, much more. So now let's get into looking at this cute little book. Absolutely love it. So again, it is a Christmas Eve book, so it says December 24th on the front, and this little thing actually comes out and then it goes back into the pocket and it just kind of rests on top of it. So I've used a lot of beautiful dies from La La Land Crafts, and again, they will all be linked below this video. And then here I have used the Santa sleigh die, and I'll show you how to get that nice shadow look once we get into the tutorial. And then I've just closed it up with some red cotton ribbon. So it just opens. The ribbon is just freely on there. It's not glued or anything. So it opens like this. And here we have this beautiful pocket here. And then the pocket is on a flap. So it opens up and you have lots of nice, beautiful photo space there. And I used one of my favorite tags from La La Land Crafts, the Hello Die tag. I absolutely love that one. And then I used the left corner pocket here, the left pocket die, and the layer that comes with it. And for this book, I used the Very Merry paper 6x6 designer paper pack from La La Land Crafts. I absolutely love this paper pack. I've used it a few times this year. So then on this flap here, we have a nice little strip of pattern paper, a beautiful spot for a photo. And then it opens up here. And here we have the horizontal pocket die on the front here. I forgot to mention we did use the vertical pocket die. And I'll show you how to create layers in the tutorial for the vertical pocket die and the horizontal pocket die. So that is what we have here is the horizontal. And then here I used one of our rounded stitched rectangles dies, just as a nice little photo mat for in here. Then this opens up like this, and you have 2 nice spots for photos. And then in the center here, I used the layered deer die. And then I also used the scalloped hexagon die and the stitched hexagon die behind him here. And then this is actually closed with a magnet. So it opens like this and like this. And on the inside here, you have a nice spot for photos, and you can do some journaling on the inside of these flaps here. All right, everybody. So let's get into the tutorial. All right, guys, let's get started by putting together our cute little base. So our base is going to measure 12 by 5 1/4. So it's 12 inches by 5 1/4 tall. On the 12-inch side, you are going to score at 4, 4 1/4, and then you're going to score again at 8 1/4 and 8 1/2. Okay. Then we are simply going to fold and burnish on all of our score lines. So you'll have a little 1/4 inch gusset on both sides. Okay, so just fold and burnish all of those score lines. And then what you're going to do is you're going to have 2 larger sections and 1 smaller section. You're going to fold in the larger section, this one on the right hand side here, and then you're going to fold that smaller section over top. That's going to be the base of our little folio, just like this. Okay. All right, so now let's put in our little interactions on the inside here. So on this smaller section here, we're going to put a flap, and the flap measures 3 1/4 by 5 3/4. And on the 5 3/4 side, you're just going to score at 1/2 inch, and go ahead and fold and burnish that. And then we're just going to miter our little flap. And then I've got my art glitter glue here, and I'm just going to put it on here on my little flap, and I'm going to center it in here. It is a 1/4 inch smaller than the base, like this, and then you can go ahead and burnish that on. Just make sure it doesn't go over the top on the outside here. Now we're going to move on to our center section here. So in the center section, I have 2 little flaps that are going to come from the top and the bottom, and they measure 3 by 3 3/4. On the 3 inch side, you're just going to score at 1/2 inch for both of them. And then we can go ahead and fold and burnish these score lines and miter. So mitering just means that we cut from the score line out. We don't cut into the score line. And this just helps to hide construction and reduce bulk. Just like that, okay? So add your glue to one of those little flaps. And just center it into your center panel here. Just like that, and then give it a nice burnish. Just like this. All right, now I'm going to turn it upside down just so I can see a little bit better. And I'm going to glue the other one to what is technically the bottom. And I am going to try to line them up as best as I can. There's going to be a gap in the middle, so just be aware of that. It's supposed to be that way. And burnish this. And then burnish from the back as well. All right, and we're going to add a little bit of a magnetic closure to this later. But now let's put on this little flap here. So for this flap, our piece measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/4, and on the 4 1/4 side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, and then fold and burnish on that score line, just like this, and then you can go ahead and miter it. Again, just from the score line out, not into the score line. And we'll add our glue to this section here. And I'm going to turn it so it's easier for me to see. And it's just going to go right along the edge of that flap. Just like this. All right, and that is kind of the basic construction of our little folio. So you can see all those cute little layers in there, but we're going to add some die cuts, some tags, some layers, and then it's going to fill up really nicely. Okay, so now for the front of our little folio, so this little piece here, this piece that's shorter than the rest of the folio, I have a piece of my pattern paper that measures 3 1/4 by 5. And then I have cut the vertical pocket die out of red cardstock, and then I've also cut it out of the pattern paper. So we are using the Very Merry paper pack, 6x6 paper pack for this little folio. So this one is going to stay the way it is, but for this one, what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut off these little flaps. So we're gonna cut off the flaps first, and then we are going to cut off even a little bit more so that it will layer onto here, okay? So this die actually puts the score marks in for you. So you can see these score marks are there. So you just need to fold it and you're good to go. But we're gonna go ahead and cut off on the pattern paper one. We're gonna go ahead and cut those score marks off. So it might be hard for you to see on mine, but on your own you'll be able to see it. So right now I'm just cutting those flaps off of this, okay? So now you'll see if I put it on here, it fully covers the front of the pocket, which can be cute too, but I like a little bit of a layer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it in here and I'm gonna cut about 1/8 of an inch off from both sides of my long side. So I'm gonna cut 1/8 of an inch off of this side. So just measure and then cut. And then 1/8 of an inch off of, just make sure it's straight in there, off of this side. And off the bottom, I'm gonna cut 1/4 inch. All right, so let's put our cutter aside for now. And we're gonna go ahead, and what we're actually gonna do is glue our red pocket right onto our pattern paper, okay? So first, go ahead and fold and burnish on your score lines. Just like this, and then I always like to burnish from the top. I love that these dies have the score lines already built in for me. Now I'm gonna place it on here with an even border of pattern paper showing on these 3 bottom sides, okay? So I'm just gonna go in and glue it all down at once. So an even border of the pattern paper on those 3 sides. And burnish that down. And then I'm going to grab my beacon glue because it's what I prefer for layering pattern paper. So that is just going to go right on here. And see how beautiful it looks with that red all the way around. All right, now this piece will get glued to the front of my little folio. So just make sure you've got a nice even red border all the way around. And you can even open it up and press it from the back. Just like this. All right, and then we're gonna do some more to the front, but for now, let's move on to this inside cover here. So for this inside cover, so this will be for the top of our flap, okay? I have a piece of my pattern paper that measures 3 by 5, and it's gonna get glued right on here, but I am going to glue this other pocket on here first. So this pocket is called the left pocket die. So it cuts, and again, it cuts those, or it's, when it cuts, it also does the score lines for you. But with this one, it actually, when you purchase it, it comes with another die that cuts the layer for it. So it comes with the pocket die, and then it also comes with this die that actually cuts the layer for you to go on there. So I absolutely love that. So this is gonna get glued on here, but let's glue our pocket down first. So again, you're just going to center it in there. So you'll have a little bit less room, about 1/8 of an inch on each side. And I'm just going to use my beacon glue to glue it down. So just get glue all over these flaps. And just glue it on. Again, just with that nice even layer. And burnish it. All right, then let's glue it on here, and then we'll glue our layer on there. So just like this. Again, make sure you leave yourself a nice even border all the way around. And now we'll glue our little layer. And that just looks so beautiful. I love it. Just like that. All right, and then this section here, I think might just be pattern paper or maybe some photo spots, but for now we're going to turn to this flap here, so the top of this flap. So I've actually cut another one of the pockets from La La Land Crafts. If you can't tell, I'm obsessed. So this one is called the horizontal pocket die, and I've done the same thing. I've cut it from pattern paper and from red cardstock. So again, you can just go ahead and fold and burnish all those score lines. It does come with all the score lines there for you, so you just have to fold them. All right, and then again, we're going to do the exact same thing we just did. So go ahead and cut off the flaps on this one. Make sure you get them all the way. So I'm just cutting off those flaps, just like that. And then I'm going to get my paper trimmer. And I'm going to cut 1/8 of an inch off of both of the long sides. So I'm just going to flip it so it's easier for me to see it. Just like that. Make sure it's nice and even. And then 1/4 inch off of the bottom, just like that. And then again, this will layer beautifully right onto our pocket. All right, so now we can just go ahead and attach this pocket right to the top of this flap. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to open it up like this, just so I can see better here. So this pocket is exactly the same size as the flap. And I'm just using my art glitter glue. And I think for this one, just because it's the same size, I'm just going to start with just putting glue at the bottom. And I'm going to make sure to put it all the way to the outside edge first, and then burnish this. And then we can add our glue to these little side sections and bring that up. Just like that. All right, now we can close it back over. Burnish from this side too. All right, now we'll add our little pattern paper layer that we made. So again, I'm gonna switch to my beacon glue. Just make sure to get into those corners. And that is just gonna layer on there really beautifully, just like this. All right, and then for the pattern paper for behind this pocket, I thought it would be nice if it would mimic the same as the other sides. I used the same star pattern paper, and it measures 4 inches tall by 3.5 wide. And I'm just gonna put it right there. And I'm just gonna slide it right in here, just like this. Super, super cute. All right, so we've got our vertical pocket on the front, we've got our corner pocket, and we've got our horizontal pocket over here. So now let's work on this section. All right, then for these two flaps, I have 2 pieces of my pattern paper that measure 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. And for the top one, I am gonna go ahead and just glue it on. Only the top one right now. I'm gonna glue this on right here, just like this. Just make sure you have a nice even red border. All right, and then I have cut the scalloped hexagon and the stitched hexagon. So these are 2 separate dies, but these 2 sizes layer together really, really nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue this one. I'm gonna go ahead and glue the hexagon to the scalloped hexagon. Just like this. And I've cut the scalloped from white cardstock, and then the stitched hexagon from pattern paper. So I'm gonna glue this on here just like this, just kind of centering it. So I'm just gonna put glue in this section. I think I'm actually just gonna use tape, just so I can be really specific in my placement. So just a little bit less than halfway down, I'm putting my tape. And I'm just gonna center it on here. Just about like that. All right, then I'm gonna turn it to the back. And I've got a set of magnets. So these are 12 by 1 millimeter magnets. And what I'm gonna do is for one of them, I'm just gonna put a little bit of tape on the back of it. So just for one, I'm gonna put some tape on the back like that. And just peel off the backing and then kind of just bring in any extra tape that might be there. And I'm going to put it right about there on the back of my hexagon. Then I'm going to grab another piece of tape and I'm going to put it across my magnet up, so sticky side up. I'm going to take my other magnet and just let those 2 snap together, and then just kind of close that down and kind of rub where we put the tape, and then just remove that and then really just burnish that tape down, and that's going to keep our little center section super cute and closed. So I'm going to go ahead, remove this backing here, and then I'm going to put my other piece of pattern paper there to cover my magnet. Just like this. And then it's totally optional if you want to go ahead and cover this magnet. I am actually not worried about it, which is why I didn't put like a piece of tape across. I just put a piece of tape behind it. So I'm not going to cover this magnet, but you completely can. You can just go ahead and cut another hexagon and put it on here. Or you can even just do like a little circle, a die cut, whatever you'd like. But like I said, I'm going to leave mine the way it is. So look at our little center section. It is so cute already. All right, guys, let's work on the little cover of our little folio here. So I've cut the tag from the Hello tag die from red cardstock. And then I've also cut one of the layering stitched circle dies. And it's going to go onto my tag here, but I want to put these dies from the pine bow or bow die, however you say it, behind the circle, just like this. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. I'm going to go behind the circle. So about like that. I just want some peeking out there. And I've cut it twice, so I'm going to put on the other side as well. So just about like this, just to add a little bit of texture and greenery to this. Just like that, and that's gonna go about right here. So before we attach this, I want to put my letters on here. So with the Skinny Letters die, so this die here, it comes with the whole alphabet, but this is what I have out. So I cut the D, the E, and the C, so for like December. And I want to put them on here. Just about like this. So D, E, C. So I'm going to use just a little tweezer here, just to make it easier for myself. And I'm going to add my glue to my letters. And I'm going to start about there. And then the E. I would definitely suggest using the tweezers. It makes it much easier. And the C. Just like that. And then I've also cut with the balloon letters dies. I've also cut a 2 and a 4, so for 24, because this is our Christmas Eve book. So the balloon letters, all the letters come with the little like balloon end, and I'll link these below. I actually really just love the font. And I'm cutting off the little like balloon part because we're not using it for this. And I'm gonna put the 24 on here, just about like that, just kind of to the right of the circle, more to the right, I should say. So this is gonna go about here, something like that. And then the 4. I like that these are thick enough too that you can like kind of easily pop them up if you wanted to. I'm not going to in this case. So look how beautiful that is. I love that. So it's gonna go about here. So I'm going to use some foam tape and I'm gonna pop it up on here. So I'm just gonna put this right here, only across the top, and I'm going to place it about just like this on my tag. So now when my tag goes into the pocket, this part will actually come over the top, the circle, because we only popped it up just up here, okay? So that looks really, really beautiful, I think. All right, now I've cut the Santa sleigh die from red cardstock and gold cardstock. So it's just this die right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the gold on top of the red, but I'm just going to offset it a tiny bit so that you just so that there's a little bit of an offset behind the gold. I just like that look. I think I've done that every time I've used this die. Oops. All right, so just place them together just so that there's like that tiny offset. I just think it adds a lot for me. All right, and then this is going to get glued right on here like this, but I want to pop this up All right, so the backings are off. So now I'm just gonna place it about right there. So that is our little cover all done. And I just think that looks so beautiful. All right, now let's go ahead and continue layering our little folio. So when we open it here, on the inside front cover, I cut another one of the Hello Tag dies, and then I cut it again just partially, the top, and then I just cut it like right across here so that we could just put a little gold accent at the top there. And we're just gonna go ahead and glue that right onto there. Like I said, just a cute little accent. And then this can be, you can journal on here. You can add your little Christmas Eve pictures on the front or the back. Really anything you'd like to do, you can do there. And then that's just gonna go right inside our little pocket there. And then for this section here, I've cut a little photo mat that measures 3 by 5. And we're gonna glue it. And we're gonna glue it just like all the way to this side of our flap here. So about to here. Just like that. And then I've got a little strip of the pattern paper that measures 3/4 of an inch by 5. And I'm just gonna do a little layer on this side just to add some interest, because when it's closed, you'll see that. All right, so then we'll open it up here to this pocket. And for this pocket, I've cut one of the rounded stitched rectangles from the Land Crafts, and that's gonna go in this pocket as a photo mat, but you can always just cut a photo mat that size. So now let's open up here. So for the back of that flap, we have a layer, so just a nice white photo mat that measures 3.5 by 5. And it's just gonna go right here, just a beautiful place to put photos. And then here on this section, we have another one that measures 3 3/4 by 5. And that's just gonna go right here. Again, just another spot to put your photos. All right, then we're gonna open this up, and there's another mat on the inside of here that's 3 3/4 by 5. And that's just gonna go in here. And if you wanted to, you could mat these two flaps with white cardstock for your journaling. I might do that if I go ahead and add some journaling in there, but for now I'm gonna leave them red. So now for this little section here, I thought it was just screaming for an embellishment. So I've cut the layered deer die, which is one of my absolute favorite dies this year from the Land Crafts. So I've cut the main layer out of red and then the layer from white. And I'm just going to glue these two together. I love this die so much. And there is even a die, an accompanying die for this that you can actually put clothes. It's called the Deer Clothes die. So stinking cute. If that's something you would want to do. So I'm going to add glue to him. I'm not going to put any on his antlers because they stick off a little bit. And he's just going to go in the center right there. So that finishes the inside of our little cute folio. And you see how it's so nice and chunky now? I love that. So the very last thing I want to do is add a little ribbon closure. And this is totally optional because Obviously, when it's laying down like this, it's gonna stay closed. But I just love adding that extra little touch of ribbon. So I'm gonna put it around, and I'm gonna put it right through this center section here where there's kind of nothing, like that. And obviously I have way too much ribbon here, but that's okay. And I'm gonna make a cute little bow right here. So you can fiddle with it however you want. Off, just like that. And I just think that looks really, really beautiful. So there we go. You have a quick Christmas Eve book ready to go so that you can add all of your beautiful little Christmas Eve memories. And it did not take long at all. So this would be a fun project, you know, the day after Christmas or any time before the new year, or really any time. It can be used for any time of the year, but I just love the idea of this, of just putting all your Christmas Eve memories in one little book. So again, to you and yours from La La Land Crafts, we wish you a very merry holiday season, the best of luck and health and happiness in the new year, and we will see you all very soon. Bye-bye.